The chemical world is very complex, and that's due to the huge number of pure substances available and to the variety of ways that these pure substances can mix with each other, like diamond, gold, and salt, and so on with the pure substances. Each mixture must be made from at least 2 parts, and these 2 parts can be either solid, liquid, or a gas, it doesn't matter. And there are a number of different ways in which the 3 states can be combined. In some, the states are completely mixed to become one single state, like mixing solid salt with liquid water. The 2 mix to become one single liquid solution. Technically, the term solution is used for this type of mixtures, the type that is composed of 2 or more substances. Keep in mind that mixtures can be liquid mixtures or solid mixtures or even gas mixtures. For instance, solid salt dissolves in liquid water to produce a liquid mixture. This is called a salt solution. The solid has completely disappeared into the liquid. In general terms, the solid that dissolves in a liquid is called the solute. On the other hand, the liquid in which solids dissolves in is called solvent. In some other types of mixtures, the states remain separate between the solid and the liquid. In these situations, the solid part is broken up into small particles, droplets, or even bubbles inside the liquid. 2/3 of Earth's surface is covered by a solution of various salts dissolved in water. We most often think of a solution as being made of a solid dissolved in liquid. What you should know is that in a liquid solution, the salts totally disappear in the water and cannot be seen. However, other substances that are normally solids can be dissolved in seawater as well. For example, the dissolved gases like oxygen and carbon dioxide, they are even more important for life to exist in the ocean than anything else. Water is the commonest solvent in use, but other liquids are also important. Most of these other liquids are organic liquids such as ethanol or propanone, and these organic solvents are important because they will often dissolve substances that do not dissolve in water. Keep in mind that if a substance dissolves in a solvent, we say that it's soluble in that solvent, and if it does not dissolve, we say that it's insoluble in that solvent. For instance, ethanol dissolves in water, so that means ethanol is soluble in water. Hexane, on the other hand, doesn't dissolve in water, so this means that it's insoluble in water. Now let's talk about less obvious situations, but still quite common. It's when we have a solution of one liquid in another, like alcohol mixtures. They dissolve completely with water, like when we dissolve methanol in water. In a case like this, where the 2 liquids dissolve each other completely to make a solution, we call them miscible. Another obvious example is alloys. Alloys are mixtures made of metals, though we don't usually call them solutions due to the fact that they are solids, like iron alloys or bronze alloys. Alloys are made by heating 2 metals until they melt, and then mix them together, and finally solidifying them by cooling their temperature. Let's make a little experiment. If we try to dissolve solid salt, such as sodium chloride, in a fixed volume of water, the solution will become more concentrated as we add more solid salt to it. Concentrated solutions contain a high proportion of a solute, which is in our case the solid salt, where on the opposite side, diluted solutions contain a small proportion of solute. Let's get back to our experiment. If we keep adding more solid salt, a point will be reached when no more salt will dissolve in the liquid at normal temperature. This is called a saturated solution. A saturated solution is basically a solution that cannot dissolve any more of the solid at normal temperature. But there is a way to make saturated solutions dissolve more solid, and it's pretty simple. We just increase the temperature of the solution. Then more solid will dissolve in that liquid. Unlike most solids, gases become less soluble in water as the temperature rises. The solubility of gases from the air in water is quite small, but the amount of dissolved oxygen is enough to support fish and other aquatic life in the sea. The solubility of gases increases with increasing the pressure. Like sparkling drinks contain carbon dioxide dissolved in it under pressure. The fizz you hear when you open the can is because the pressure is released from the can, and it would go flat if the can is left to stand in the open, and more quickly if left to stand in a warm place. That was everything for today's video. Hope you find it helpful. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you again in the next video.